Welcome, everybody, to the Where Do You Run Well podcast. This is episode 7, and we are super excited to be sitting here with Jeff Morris, and we're going to peel the Jeff Morris onion today.
Yay!
And we're going to be talking about a race that he recently towed the line at called the Jackpot Ultra Running Festival, and it's in Las Vegas. So that's really the story that we're going to tell today. Also in the room we have his beautiful wife, Leslie.
Hello.
Who is also crew leader and all the things that Jeff needed at each aid station. Leslie was in charge of. And then we also have virtually his pacer and longtime friend, Tim Wilcox. So,
hello.
Hi, Tim.
Hi.
So, Tim lives in California, so he dialed in. So we've got him on the computer, and we're really happy to have him here, even though it's much earlier for him where he's at now. And then we also have Jeff and Leslie's son, who's just kicking it in the background. We might have some things to add to the story, so we're gonna jump right in with Jeff, my buddy.
Yay!
I was even trying to remember when we first met each other. So Jeff is a road warrior.
I am.
But I'm not exactly sure when we met. It seems like it's been a few,
I think my first time ever coming out here was your last January run at the old store.
Oh, okay.
You had just bought this, I think, and we're about to move over here. Because
Okay.
before we started on the route, you came over and we pointed at it. I think we did a picture, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you did a picture at the end because it was the last one.
So that
I
was
remember you
about
talking about
7 years ago then.
Yeah.
All right. I was thinking we went way back. We have a lot of memories together too, but
few,
nothing
yeah.
like what you have with Tim and Leslie. And I can't wait to hear about it. So I want to go back a little bit, Jeff, because we want to know where your running journey began for you.
Wow. Well, it begins when we had our son. So back in March of 2012. He was born in March. Prior to him being born, I just played a lot of basketball. That was how I tried to stay in shape. Right about him being 2 months old or so, I realized that I am older than I care to be when I got injured playing basketball.
Oh.
And hyperextended my elbow, and you can't play basketball with a hyperextended elbow.
Oh.
Doesn't work well. And I had seen people doing a lot of small races, 5Ks, and I'm like, I want to get a shirt. I want a 5K shirt. My entire goal was just to get the 5K shirt. She laughing, but we talked about that.
So you can get a shirt and not run the race.
That's not how I'm wired.
Right.
And so,
obviously.
And so I picked out a race in a local area, and I downloaded the Couch to 5K training app, and I started May, June, I think, for a race in October.
Okay. Now let's go back a little bit farther because you were in the military.
I was.
So you did some running in the military.
And I hated it.
Okay, just checking.
Being told to run, being told to work out, oh my gosh, everything about that was torture. And I got out way before the Air Force changed stuff, but the Air Force, when I was active, they kind of put it up to you to manage your own exercising.
Okay.
And their standard was based on your heart rate after X amount of time on a bike.
Okay.
And they left it to you, and you were expected to meet a standard that I never met. I never met that standard.
Yeah. So that wasn't fun.
No, not at all.
No, that didn't land. But fast forward. And now you've got a Couch to 5K program,
yes.
And because you are going to try to find that fountain of youth or hang on, to some fitness. You've got your son now, and, you want to chase him around.
And I can remember telling my wife, I said, I'm by no means old when we had him, but I started putting that together, 18 years plus my age.
Yes.
And at some point in time, God willing, he's going to have kids, we're going to have grandkids. I started going, maybe I need to get on top of this.
Good
You know?
plan. Yeah.
Because I wanted to be able to chase him around and the grandkids whenever they come.
Right.
So
His foot played a huge part into it too.
good.
Well, he was him being born with a club foot. That played a huge part. We wanted to show him, as he got older, that's not a barrier. You know, that's you can cross that. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you put your mind to it, and type thing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so he was your inspiration.
A lot of ways.
Yeah.
A lot of ways. We'll get to that later because there's a cool story about all this.
Okay.
So
All right. So you run your first 5K.
did terrible.
Did terrible.
Didn't
but
have
you
a clue.
finished?
I finished. I didn't have a clue about pacing. Didn't have a clue about the course. Like there was a hill I didn't know was there. I live in New Baden. There are no hills in New Baden.
Ah.
But I looked good. I had all the right gear on.
Sometimes you just gotta fake it, you know.
And leading up to this, it was a one and done. I'm just doing one 5K and I'm done. There's no more after this. Just one 5K and I'm
So
done.
he wasn't insane back then. He was just kind of being.
That's the only that's what like lit the fire is this one 5K.
So then you finished it, and so what happened? You didn't feel like you did your best, so you needed to like do another one.
We
So-
were at Hardee's in the store or after the race in Carlisle, 'cause that's where it was at Carlisle Lake. We're at Hardee's, and he goes, I did horrible. I can't believe I did so bad. I did horrible. And then by the time we got home, he's already researching new 5Ks. And I'm like, I thought this was a one and done. He goes, I've got to prove myself. I did horrible.
No, I don't know if she knew this, but there was a young kid there. I'm all in line. I look good. He comes up in big old basketball shorts, basketball shoes, backwards baseball hat. And I'm like, this kid's not going to do anything. He's wearing basketball shoes. Come on. The kid passed me the last quarter mile. And he was probably 13 or 14. And I tried to keep up with them, and I couldn't. And then I got mad at myself, and I completed the race. And I grabbed my bottle of water, and I grabbed my wife and kids. Let's get out of here. And then we went to Hardee's, and I picked another one.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of internal dialogue that happens, from the starting line to the finish line, and then after we just pick it apart, All right, so you went on obviously to do more 5Ks
I did.
and improve upon things, or
Proved to myself. I'm my, as you know, and as my wife will attest to, I am my own worst critic. I am my hardest critic in pretty much everything.
really,
Yeah.
just don't give Jeff a break.
I don't give a break to anything.
Why do you think that is?
Probably years of being told I couldn't, years of being laughed at, years of being told that I'll never measure up to, kind of thing. Kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that happens to a lot of us.
Sure.
And sometimes we internalize it, but then we get to a point, it's like, I don't have to believe what you're saying. That is an opinion. It's not fact. So thankfully we can flip that switch, but it does come back, and sometimes it haunts us.
Yep.
Years of insecurities for a lot of reasons just kind of manifest themselves at random times. And professionally, that's probably what caused me to go into the work I do as a job.
Yeah.
To address a lot of that in others, to help others with those insecurities.
Are you okay talking about what you do for work?
Absolutely. I am a clinical child and adolescent counselor.
I love it.
So I get to hang out with kids all day who are going through their own battles with whatever.
Good for you. Yeah, and you can draw on that, and you're just helping so many people.
I hope.
What a rewarding. Well, I'm sure you are. And you water the seed, and sometimes you don't always see the harvest,
Right,
but
absolutely.
you keep
Right.
farming it and believe somewhere out there that
Absolutely. Right. Right.
that it's happening.
That's a hope. I tell every client I work with, I said, my hope for us, is that in 10, 20 years, when we see each other at the mall, you look at me and you'll go, wow, he got old, but he was an okay guy for that time frame. So that's kind of my hope.
Well, I feel like, and I feel like I know you, and And Tim knows you a whole lot better, but I think there's going to be a whole lot of people in the world saying that,
I hope so.
All right, we got to get back to running.
Yeah,
because I got to know when the insanity hit Deb. Like, okay,
So-
when
Just
did you
talking
lose
about this the
your
other day.
ever-loving mind and decide you want to...
So October was my first race. The next April, one of my good friends from the military that Tim also knows, he asked me to come help him out at the Illinois Marathon in Champaign. And I tell him, I can't do a marathon yet. He goes, no, I need a driver back home afterwards.
You're like, oh, okay, I got
He
that.
goes, I'll cover your hotel. I'll cover your hotel costs. There's a challenge race the day before. It's a 5K. I'll pay for that. I just need you to drive me home. Got that covered. So we did our race, and it was fun. The largest race at that point I had done. We went out to eat afterwards, and he met a guy.
Can I interject real quick?
Please.
Up until now, he's like, I'm doing nothing more than 5Ks. I'm
Okay.
not doing anything over 5Ks.
That is a very important part of the story.
Yes, it is
isn't
very
it?
important to know that all he kept saying, I'm never doing anything more than a 5K. 5K is all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything more than 5Ks. I'm never ever going to do a half marathon or a marathon. At this point, I don't think we ever even heard of 10Ks or 15Ks. But he's like, I'm never going to do a half marathon. I'm never going to do a marathon. I'm not that crazy. I'm not that crazy. That needs to be said in the story.
It really does. That's very important.
Very important.
So we went out to eat, and he met up with a guy who he was picking up some stuff for. And this gentleman had just ran a 100-mile ultra in upstate New York in snowshoes.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember having the bite in my hand, and I looked at him and I said, what did you just say? And they're talking about like it's not a big deal. And I'm going, people run 100 miles in snowshoes. Upstate New York. I couldn't put it together in my head. And then the conversation turned into, yeah, there's always a person who's just a little crazier out there.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
They're not hard to find. You just got to look. And I remember, I think I told my wife that night, I just heard about this event. And we had our back and forth. The next day, I got Chad to the race, and I watched him take off. And I went back to the hotel and went to sleep. Checked out, get back to the race where it ends at, and I'm watching people come in doing their half marathons and marathons. They weren't the elites. The elites are already in, but they're the average person who just gave everything that they had. And what's incredible about that event, or torture, depending on how you look at it, is it ends on a field in Champaign. To get out of the field, you have to climb the steps out.
Oh, my gosh.
Right.
How many steps you think?
60, 80.
Oh, my gosh.
So imagine just doing a half marathon or a marathon. You've given it everything you have, and you have to climb those out.
Well, so I'm thinking about some of the marathons that I finished, and I don't know that I'd be able to climb myself out.
It took some people a while.
Yeah.
We went back a couple years later and did it. And it took some people, they laid on the field for a while before they
Right.
got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I can sure picture that happening.
Or were carried out or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I can remember watching it, getting teary-eyed, thinking, wow, this is really inspirational. These people have just given everything they have to cross that line. Wow. And I can remember I texted you and said something effective, I think maybe I could do a half.
And that was the toe in of the craziness
Yeah,
right
and I
there.
even remember saying, but you said you were only going to do 5Ks. Well, I know, but I think I can do a half. It'll only be a half. I'm only going to do one. Everything was always, I'm only going to do one.
Right. Uh-huh.
There's a theme. And it just continued to evolve. And I eventually did the 10K and did the 15K. And then I picked a half marathon. I picked one probably a year or two after that event. And it was going to be in my hometown in Iowa, where I'm from. And I picked my hometown because I didn't want anybody to watch me fail. It's my hometown. I know the streets. Nobody that I know here is going to be up at it.
You don't have friends and family that were going to be there? Or
My
they're
dad and
just
mom.
not in your circle
Yeah.
of
Not
runners?
in
Yeah.
Like, I see.
My
Okay.
dad and mom are going to be my dad and mom. They're going to be
Right.
happy, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was one of those, if I failed in my head, no one is going to know it except these two and my parents.
And your parents wouldn't even understand it because they don't understand the running world at all whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. So they're like, oh, they probably think you won, when you cross the finish line.
You did great. You did wonderful. So you completed it in 6 hours. Who cares? You did wonderful. I mean,
it wasn't 6 hours.
It wasn't 6 hours. Well, they wouldn't understand.
And parents too. Like you finish your first 5K, and they're telling all their friends, oh, my child ran a marathon because they don't understand the difference.
Yep.
And so I came in. I completed it, and I can remember we had to walk like a block to the after food to the after race party, and I remember I think I told my wife somewhere in that walk, I think I could do another one of these, like now,
like right now,
like let's just go.
Give me that full marathon medal.
And that was where the carrot was. All right, well let's push that line a little bit more.
How many years ago was that, Jeff?
Brett was still in diapers, so
Probably 2014, 15.
Okay.
And so there's a marathon back where I'm from. So the same kind of logic. I'm gonna pick a marathon that's not here in this area, so all my brother friends aren't gonna know about it. If I fail, I fail. But I want to experience this again, one-time thing.
Problem is he picked the Quad Cities Marathon, which is actually a pretty big marathon, and there were people there that we knew, and his friend Chad from the military actually came in to join him on it because he was with him with his first big race, and so he wanted to be with him.
And that's your safe person.
Besides Tim,
I just want to say though too, I think it's important that we are all out there failing epically. Like, it's okay to fail. That means you are doing some shit.
Yep.
Okay, that you're pushing yourself and you're going for something. And I mean, I think it's important that everybody, too, sometimes shares it in the failure, because it's really, in my opinion,
somebody's gonna learn from that, or you learn from that.
Yeah, and it really, I don't feel like there's any shame in failing when you are going for it. When you're going for some shit that's huge and you're pushing yourself.
Absolutely. It's like Brett's teacher actually has a sign, and he repeats it sometimes. He'll be like, mistakes are proof that you're trying.
Yes.
Failing is proof that you're trying.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I mean, and I love that. I love that motto, and he reminds me of that all the time, and I remind him of that,
Yeah.
It's not a mistake because you're trying, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So my friend Chad, the race is in September. In June, I get a text message with a copy of his flight itinerary, his hotel reservation, and his race registration. He goes, "All right, you're committed." Son of a gun! You got to know Chad. Chad at the time lived, I think he was in Travis or Beale. I don't remember, but he had to come in for it. So I told her, "Well, I'm all in." So I paid for it. And then I had to have an operation on my foot. I don't know that you know this part of the story.
I don't think I do.
Was that before that race?
Yeah, I had a neuroma on my foot that I had ignored for a long time. And then it got to a spot, like a 10-mile training run where I couldn't ignore it anymore. It was one of those, I live in a small town, so to do any long runs, you've got to go to the country. And I hit a spot where I thought, I can't go anymore. I turned around and look, can I walk across this field? Like I was trying to rationalize, is it easier to walk across the cornfield or to go the country roads all the way around and get back?
Wow.
Because he doesn't run with his phone, so he can't contact me to tell me there's something wrong. Like if he's ever injured out on a run, we're screwed because there's no way for him to contact me.
And so that hard-headedness kind of thing.
Well, and a neuroma, just so everybody understands, I mean, that is excruciating pain. I mean, it almost makes you feel like your foot's broke or something, doesn't it? Or
I couldn't put on a sock. I couldn't lay a sheet on my foot.
Yeah.
So to walk was painful. To run was impossible.
Yeah.
So I knew about the issue probably 6-8 years prior, but I was going through some stuff in my life where it wasn't an issue. I didn't want to address it at that point. So I went back to the doctor, and he goes, well, we're about 6-8 months beyond the point of trying to help this. Your only option is to have this out. Okay, so let's have a discussion. I have a marathon. We were 2 months out?
Yeah. And one thing which is really great is all the doctors we've ever had to treat him for any type of injury are all runners. So they get it.
Yes.
They may not be the orthopedic doctor's the only one that's like to the crazy
He ran
extent.
Boston,
yeah, he's ran Boston. He's done triathlons. I don't think he's done triathlon. His wife's done Ironmans. But anyways, his wife's completed multiple Ironmans.
That's the kind of doctor you want.
Yes,
you know,
and his
an
foot-
advocate for runners.
Yeah, his foot doctor, not as crazy as a runner, but still a runner. So he gets where Jeff was coming with the whole, I have a marathon coming up, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the operation scheduled, easy operation. I was in a boot for 2 weeks. The day he took out the incisions, my wife was there because I couldn't drive because it was my right foot. And I remember he took him out and he said something to the effect of, okay, you're cleared to return to your activities
As tolerated.
And I looked at him. He looks at me, and if memory serves me right, you said to him, do you know what you just told him?
I did.
Because this man has high tolerance. So
Yes.
The very next day, I ran a race. 5K. No real time goal. I just wanted to see what I could endure because I had a 6-week window to go from operation to marathon.
oh my gosh.
And I did, and it wasn't pretty, but I completed it. I was happy I completed it. Crashed out a 6-week training plan for a marathon. No real expectations other than coming in ahead of the time cutoff.
Sure.
Then the week of the marathon, I come down with bronchitis, double ear infection and bronchitis.
Oh my gosh.
But you didn't go to the doctor. Because why go to the doctor when you
Well,
don't feel good?
If you go to the doctor's going to tell you not to run your marathon.
But had he
So
gone,
then you
but
just
had he
don't
gone
go
to the doctor, he could have gone on medication for the ear infection, which would have cleared up in time. But no, he decides to oh
Or-
no, it's just a cough. It's just a slight cold. I'm going, there's more than this than there is.
So you're trying to run your first marathon, and here's every obstacle being thrown right in your face. You know, every reason to say, "Oh, I can't do it. I shouldn't do it," and you're like,
Watch me.
"F this! Hold
Watch
my
me.
beer."
Watch
Pretty much.
Race morning, I had 101.5 temperature.
Oh my god!
And
Let's sweat this out. I think I can sweat it out.
I knew it. I just wasn't telling anybody. As much over the counter as I can, as much vitamin C as I can. We get to the race, and of course, there's all the nerves and whatnot. I was smart. I packed some over the counter Aleve or whatever to have some point. I'm gonna need it.
Right.
Took some before we left the hotel. We get to the race, get to a good clip. That race is great because it starts in Illinois, it crosses to Iowa.
Oh yeah.
It runs, so you can know the event.
Yeah.
Phenomenal event. I get to about mile 10 or 11, and I could tell the pain's coming back, and I'm coughing and hacking, and I reach into my pocket to grab the medicine, and I didn't think to put it in a plastic baggie.
We hadn't learned that trick yet.
I didn't know that trick
Now you
yet.
need to like lick your pocket or something.
I went, oh no. And at that point, my friend Chad goes, what's wrong? As I tell the whole story, he goes, wait a minute, we're almost at the halfway point. What?
Yeah.
And so I tell him, and I'm going like this, trying to lick off whatever I can get.
Lick your hand from.
Chad is a seasoned runner. He carries a 20 with him on races in an ID. And he
Smart.
goes, I'm going to run ahead, find a gas station, and get the strongest over-the-counter I can get. You just keep going. Don't worry, I'll catch you, kind of thing. And I did. And he got, I don't know, Tylenol, extra strength, whatever he could. And I took it, but it didn't touch anything. From right about 12 and a half on, it was a grind. Because every step hurt, every breath hurt, every cough hurt.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I'm not going to quit. I won't quit. I have X amount of time, X amount of hours. Mile 13 to about mile 20 is on an army base on an island up there, which is awesome. But the problem is there's no spectators because they're not allowed because it's an army post. So you get really, really in your head at that moment.
Did you have Chad with you at this point?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So Chad, kind of like Tim, which we'll meet here eventually, they were there just to keep me going that direction. And just when I thought I was at the end of my rope, I met a lady on there who was a breast cancer survivor, was in the thralls of it.
Wow.
And she's she was so much pain. She was drunk with pain. But she kept saying, my butt hurts. Would grab her butt. I pulled the muscle
Didn't she really pull the muscle?
She pulled her shorts down to show me I'm good.
Was it black? Or?
Yeah, she actually pulled the muscle.
Oh my gosh.
And so I just stayed with her. We stayed with her. I'm like, I don't have a reason to complain. This lady's out here looking at something way worse than what I can understand.
Yeah.
Why me? And so we did. I let her go in ahead of me. I completed as a 7-hour cutoff. I completed in 6 hours and 52 minutes and some change.
Woohoo! He's in.
The last 2 miles of it, I had a course marshal on a bike next to me the whole time, and didn't think she was just talking to me. Nice person. We engaged. Once I come in and I collapse on the ground and people are handing me water and I'm going through the emotional stuff, she leans over. She goes, "I'm also a nurse. How sick are you?" And I told her. She goes, You shouldn't have hopped out here." She goes, "I would have stopped you before you ever got out here."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I didn't tell you."
Well, and running a marathon, I mean, it can break your immune system down, you know? So it can really go either way. You could sweat it out, or it grabs a hold of you.
Or get worse.
Yes. Because I used to get sick after finishing marathons until I started really boosting my antioxidants leading up to it. And then, I fixed that problem. But
I did it. I was a one and done kind of thing. Wasn't going to do any more.
here we go again, that same old story again.
There's the theme.
Yeah, we're singing that song.
Right about a month later, we're back down here. We're at a local race, and I bought a jacket pre-race that said marathon finisher. And I knew how bad I was. She didn't understand it totally. But I knew I wouldn't put that jacket on if I didn't complete the race. So I'm spending $80 on a jacket. I'm trying to motivate myself. So we're at this race in the area, and this person that we know says, "Hey, nice jacket." And I said, "Oh, yeah, thanks." I completed it, and she goes to me,
I could have walked it.
and done better.
And he comes to me, he goes, "That's it, I'm doing another one."
Bitch! Wherever you are out there in the world, I hope karma's coming
I
out.
think we locked eyes. And because my response would have been to be honest, to destroy her with words.
Well, yeah, and you can.
And I may not be able to talk clearly, but I can put words together. And I think she kind of gave me this, chill out, just be cool. And it was a matter of a day or two, and I'm emailing her, I need to do another one. I want to do it in the area so I don't have to travel. I don't have to take away all that extra. And I picked to go the next year here in the area.
Yeah,
And
that's a smart one.
Yeah, I did it, trained it, got through it healthily, cut off an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And then the next carrot was dangled, kind of thing.
Yeah, he kept talking to Chad kept talking to him about 50 miles and 100 miles. And so
I do want to move to your first 100-mile attempt because I want to get there. I'm really looking forward to
this is where Tim gets to join in
the story.
So
because what year was it that you first attempted, and what race? Let's start there.
So my first 100 or my first ultra? Because they're different.
Right. I want to go 100. I think.
So 2018. Hang on.
was that 2018, Tim?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was pre-COVID, so I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so he got introduced to this Jackpot event the year prior when Chad, the guy I mentioned earlier, he said, "Hey, I need a pacer in the crew. I'll put you on a plane. Come out here. I just need you to keep me moving." Okay, I'll take a long weekend in Vegas on you. So went out there. They got to do it, saw some incredible stuff, and came back and said, "All right, I'm in on this." By that point, I had done an ultra. I had done a 50 miler, so I knew how that felt. So signed up, put my name on the dotted line, put the training plan together to do the 2018 Jackpot. Chad.
Wait, Jeff. So you weren't going out there. Were you going out there to pace Chad, or you were going out there to run your own
2018,
race
he was
too?
going out there to run his own race.
2018, I went out there to run it, and I knew I couldn't help Chad because I'm going to be in it.
Okay.
So what can we do? And we both went, Tim. And because
let's just drag him into this.
because Chad also knew Tim from the military. And so we decided, we reached out. Tim was able to do it. I put Tim on a plane, and hilarity ensued.
So were you and Chad both going for 100 at that point?
So the Jackpot event is a 2-day, or at that point in time, it was a 2-day timed event.
Okay.
Fixed time event. There's a 12-hour, 24-hour, 48-hour, and then the 100-mile, and then the USATA. Anyway, 100-mile, the national championship.
Okay.
So there's a lot of events that are going on at one point in time. I wanted to get the 100. I didn't want to set any time records. I just wanted to complete it. So I chose a 48-hour event along with Chad. And Tim was there to make sure we didn't, die, combust.
I don't know what I was doing. You're like, hey, I'll pay for you to come out to Vegas and watch you run around. I'm like, okay.
You're like, I'm in.
Oh, yeah, it's PCA.
So 2 days before the race starts, Vegas has a record 24-hour rainfall.
Oh my gosh!
Like 8 to 10 inches. There's puddles on top of puddles on top of puddles. The day of the race, the rain turns into 25 mile an hour wind gusts, 25 and up. Excuse me.
So you have rain and wind.
Yeah.
Okay. And that leads to chafing. And
Yes.
And Vegas is a bowl, so the wind just kind of whips around.
Oh
and
yeah, the
doesn't-
wind is definitely a factor in Vegas.
Again, hard-headedness. I ran the Honolulu Marathon 2 months prior as a training run, if you will. And
That sounds crazy, but yeah, we get it.
Yeah, I had hurt my foot somewhere on that race, and I didn't step on anything, didn't roll anything. But I remember telling my wife my foot hurts. I don't know why. If I get past this race, I'll do Jackpot. If it still hurts, I'll get into the doctor. So, I don't know, hour 16-ish of day one of my first attempt. The weather was terrible. Chad had ran this race before. He said, "Hey, I have a hotel room 6 blocks away. Let's go as long as we can on day one. We'll go back. We'll get some sleep. We'll get a shower, charge up, come back on day two." The problem is my foot hurt too bad.
And for everybody listening, you have 48 hours to complete the distance. Yeah. So you're still fine if you take a break, and then you can come back and jump right in. And it's all official and all of that. They check you back in when you get there, and as long as you complete the mileage within the time limit.
I put that bar really, really low to get that first buckle.
Yeah. Well, no, it's 100 miles. I mean, come on, it's 100 miles.
Right.
However it looks like.
Which I now know.
Yeah.
But I didn't then. Day two, my foot was hurting me so bad, every other step hurt.
Was this the same foot that you had the operation on, or the other foot?
The same foot.
The same foot. Okay. But it was a different symptoms?
Yes.
Okay.
We learned later but they're connected.
Oh.
They think they're connected. And so anyway, right around mile 75 of the event, it's dark, and this course is a horseshoe at a park. It's a big park, and it goes over a bridge. And this bridge, there's no rails on it. It's just kind of a bridge into a lake. And I'm delirious. I'm at that dark spot of 100, and I stepped, and I lost my balance. And I'm not sure how I caught myself from going into the lake, but I did. And Jeff doesn't swim. Jeff joined the Air Force because he doesn't swim, and the Navy requires, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of, let's get some clarification, because just so everybody knows, this race, it's like a 2.5 mile horseshoe-shaped loop.
Yeah.
So it's great for crew and spectators, because there's no logistics. They're just got kind of camp set up there. And then the runner has the mental challenge of completing the same loop repeatedly for 48 hours or however until you get to your mileage goal. Okay.
Right, which is good and bad because you see your crew all the time. Conversely, you can stop all the time.
Yeah.
You see other runners, which is great, so there's a lot of opportunity to interact with others. But conversely, you see the other runners all the time.
Yeah.
And it's way more of a mental challenge than I had expected. And when I almost went into the water, it was probably 0.2 of a mile from that spot back to where Tim was at. And in that 0.2 of a mile, I went from I'm going to complete this to I could have died.
Yeah. Did you roll your ankle, or what happened when you stepped off the edge?
To be honest, I don't know. I'm sleep deprived because I didn't get any sleep at the hotel.
Did you hurt
to
yourself?
clarify, this bridge is actually a runoff. So it's a storm drain. So this park has a big lake in the middle of it. The path goes over this storm drain. It's normally dry, so there's no guardrail. We call it a bridge, but it's just a concrete runoff when they get rains. So
Oh my gosh.
I think what happened is he actually got near the edge where it slopes down into the water and it just slipped. I wasn't there. If he would have fell in, I would have been hours. I'm like, where's Jeff? I should probably go look for him.
Well, and that's
swimming with the ducks.
yeah, and that causes your heart rate to spike. I mean, that is a whole different element to your body, in 75 miles in.
With like 12 hours on the clock left.
Oh my gosh.
And my miles are getting longer and longer because I'm in tremendous pain. I come back through Tim. I said, Tim, I just about went into the water. I think I'm done. I can't. Not worth dying here.
Right.
Tim grabs his coat. He goes, all right, I'll walk the rest of this lap in with you just to make sure I know where you're at. Tim can jump in here. I don't remember much of that half mile, of that half loop.
I don't remember much of it either. You were just hurting. And I was trying to figure it out because this is the first time I crewed a race, and first time I've seen you doing this, so I'm trying to figure it out as it goes. But I just remember just trying to talk to you, just trying to get you through it because I've been watching everybody else for 2 days and kind of learning as we go. So then I'm like, okay, so I'm going to apply this to how I did Jeff. And I was just, and I know you're as stubborn as a mule, so I'm like, when you tell me you're done, you're done. So I was just walking along with it, and just trying to make you as comfortable as I can. I can't, heal your foot, but, and I was just trying to keep open to it in case you suddenly changed your mind and wanted to keep going.
Yeah, because
So
that does
that's what I
happen.
did for that last bit.
Yeah. There's highs and lows, and sometimes you feel like you're going to quit, and then, 10 minutes later, you get another win, and you're like, I think,
Right. Yeah.
So I came across the line, and I had decided I'm done. I stepped across that timing line, took off my bib, handed it to the RD's wife, excuse me, and I said, I'm done. She
She
deactivated.
tried to get you back into it. She tried to talk you back into it.
She deactivated it. She gave me a medal because that was my longest run to that point, and she gave me a kiss on the cheek and said, "I'm proud of you." I limped back to our camp. I remember I got under a blanket because it's cold, high desert and crazy weather. I got under a blanket. I did a call to her, FaceTime call, I think, and I said I quit. I started crying. I don't remember.
I don't remember
The
saying.
rest.
I remember making sure you were okay, and you really didn't do a whole lot of talking. I think it was more Tim messaging me, telling me what was going on because you couldn't
that's what
talk.
it was, but then,
You were really
once you
delirious
went-
still.
yeah, and it's like 2 a.m. We're all kind of out of it.
Oh my
And,
gosh. Yeah,
I
you've
just
been
don't
through a
like
lot.
you had those like fold out full recline chairs, and you put the whole blanket over you, and I was like, okay, just covering. And then I could see you had your phone in your hand, like the shape of the blanket. I was like, all right, he's probably talking to Leslie, and I could hear you talking real quiet. I think I just kind of walked away, let you have your moment, because I had no idea at that time what that feels like. I was just kind of like, this has got to kind of suck for him to be tough, so I would just kind of let you do your thing, and work through it. Because I could see it in your face, I know you in a long time, I can tell, and I know you're stubborn as a mule, and when you fail, you don't like it, and you're your own worst critic, so, so I was just kind of letting you do your thing, knowing full well I was probably going to end up back there again somehow.
Yeah.
We came
He
home.
knows you.
I didn't want to admit it, but I'm like, somehow I'm going to end up back there.
I do remember telling him, you should be proud of yourself. You did 70
Oh my gosh.
plus miles, 75,
Holy shit.
76 miles. You should still be proud of yourself because that's a lot. That's more than most people do.
Well, right, especially given some of the challenges that you were going through.
Yeah.
That, like a lot of people would not even have showed up, with that kind of issue happening with the foot.
I do remember part of our conversation because you kept saying, I failed.
Yep,
I failed.
that's what he kept saying to me, too.
You know? And I'm like, you didn't fail, dude. I'm like, are you going to try this again? He goes, yeah. I'm like, so kind of like what you guys were hitting on earlier about that speech is, if you're making mistakes or you're failing, you're still trying. And that's what I was kind of getting. I'm like, you haven't failed till you quit and you don't try anymore.
Preach!
So,
Preach!
I do remember telling you that because that's like when it finally dawned on me because I was watching you this whole time and I'm seeing other people push and they're not quitting and I know full well you're going to do it again. So I'm like, you're not failing, you know, you're just trying. And I'm like, holy crap, I need to adopt that in my life more. So.
Oh my gosh! So then you inspired Tim in a way.
I wouldn't wear the shirt. I wore the shirt home just off the plane. My wife, my son, and one of my daughters were at the airport. They made a sign right when you come off, 75 reasons to be proud of you or something to that effect.
Oh
we have
my
75
gosh.
reasons to be proud of our dad.
Oh my gosh.
I'm bawling at the airport. I'm holding it together, but I'm internally bawling.
Well, I feel emotional right now, so I can only imagine how you felt.
I wore the shirt home just so they could see it, but I think the next day I tossed it in the garbage. I'm like, I in my head, I don't deserve this shirt. A week later, I discovered I had developed bone spurs in my foot.
Oh, okay.
And they think because of the change in tissue from the neuroma 2, 3, 4 years prior that changed the structure of my foot, which changed how the joints rub, which led to bone spurs.
Oh my gosh.
I ran 75 miles on a foot with bone spurs. I had a lump in my foot that you could see. I think I talked to you about it.
Yeah.
This is when you
I
switch over
came
to
in,
focus.
I said, how can I lace these?
To lace around that.
And that's what I was going on in my, that was what I was trying to deal with. I just wasn't telling anybody.
Yeah.
And so had to have those out.
Another foot
Here we
surgery.
go. Yeah.
So I picked another 100-miler. I picked Tunnel Hill
Okay.
the very next fall.
And
So
Tim
that
was
would have
there for
been
that
what,
one too.
2019 was Tunnel Hill?
Yes.
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 Okay.
20,
And that's in the fall.
Right.
And that's rails to trails,
Yeah.
kind of crushed limestone path, which is nice soft surface, because I think Jackpot, isn't that a lot of asphalt?
It's asphalt and gravel. Rock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Combination.
it's a
It's mostly gravel, but yeah, like 20% of it's asphalt or something.
Oh,
like that.
gotcha. Okay. So here we go. We recovered from foot surgery.
I fly in Tim again.
All right, Tim, you're on
Tim's
deck.
back. We got our friend
It's a glutton
Tony's
for
in.
punishment.
Okay, so this is your crew and
Yeah.
pacing group
Yeah.
for Tunnel
Yep,
Hill. It's
I'm
going to
set.
be Tim.
I'm set.
Tim and me, and then one of our friends, Tony, came in to help out. Well, he's running the event, but he's like, if I get finished first,
Oh,
I'll
gotcha.
help out where I
Okay.
can. type
Which
thing.
he would have finished first.
Yeah, Tony's a very seasoned ultra runner. He's actually very well known on the West Coast in ultra running.
Okay, and he was doing 100?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I even helped out with the charity. I looked for every possible way to motivate myself. I connected with the charity, raised money, had people give X amount of dollars per mile, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And ran the first 20 of it, on plan. Everything is great. And then right around 23, 24, my foot are beginning to hurt. Same foot, but no trauma. And I couldn't figure out what it was, foot, ankle, just something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I even had my own trainer, my own physical therapist along with us.
Oh, wow.
Come in at mile 25, she looks at it, she tapes it, gave me some anti-inflammatory, I got some food, and I grabbed my wife because my wife's a great walker. She's a speed walker. Like, I can't keep up with my wife when
We
she
need
walks.
you, Leslie. You're on deck.
Yep.
And I knew I was going to take me probably an hour or two to get these drugs into me. I couldn't run, and don't know why. And so we took off. And Tim, I don't remember what aid station you were at, but you were after the tunnel, correct?
Yeah, so we went, that was before the tunnel, because Leslie started walking with you. And me and Leslie discussed, we regarded making a plan, like, all right, I'm going to walk with you this far, and then I'm going to walk with you this far. Because I didn't start running yet. I was still 300 pounds and all this other crap. So I was like, I'm going to walk with him. And me and Leslie had a plan, like, we were going to just alternate walking with you to keep you moving.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before the tunnel. So we went to the next aid station after. And that's when Leslie started filling me in. Because I had to come toward you. I was going the opposite direction of what
Yes.
the runners were to come get you.
I couldn't go any farther. I don't know what happened. I got it in my head probably. And mile 29, 30, I don't know even what mile spot we're at. But
somewhere in there, in the 20s, somewhere.
Tim comes out of the tunnel, and I'm sick. I'm nauseous. I'm sick. I'm in my head. I can't do this.
Well, I think I said to Tim, "You take care of him.
He's your problem.
He's your problem now."
Something like that. It's like you problem, or something like he needs you, or something like that.
Yeah.
So now, now I'm a little more experienced. I'm like, all right, I know Jeff. I know his head. And when I was walking here, I'm like, I'm not gonna say he's gonna quit till he swears it. And he said some things. Because I was like, are you quitting? He's like, no. I'm like, you quit? No. And then he finally said it. And I was like, all right, he's done. And then
he made him say like a certain phrase.
We hugged it because I know how he is. You know what I mean? So I was like, if he's really done, he'll swear. If I'll make him mad and he'll swear at me, and then I know he's done.
Well, and you really have to have you have to be in it mentally. Like if you lose your focus, then it's very easy to get derailed and
Easy to quit.
Yes,
Easy
and
to
to
quit.
find those reasons to just throw in the towel.
And I did. And I
In a way, I'm thankful though. I got to see a really pretty part of the race, so it was really nice. But
Well, and two,
not the way I
Tim,
wanted to.
you alluded to something a minute ago, and I want to come back to that because Tim was just saying about he hadn't started his running journey yet, and he was 300 pounds. So everybody, I want to make sure you heard that because we're going to circle back around on Tim, okay? Tim's a big part of the story that I love, so we'll hear some more from him too.
I pulled myself off, went back to the hotel, I licked my wounds. Tim and Leslie went back to see Tony finish the next day. I couldn't go back to finish.
He refused to come back.
I'm like, I can't do this.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't see it.
Nope. I'd failed. I'd failed. I let all these folks down that were counting on me raising money for this charity. The back half of the race, people that were going to give money. What did I do?
I see what you're going through.
You
Yeah,
know?
I see all the layers that are a part of that story.
I hid. I dealt with my emotions. I dealt with my emotions, kind of on and off. So.
Yeah, because you're going to have to tell this story now a million times because everybody's going to ask you.
I had a web page raising money. It was.
Well,
I did everything.
We are all still very proud of that effort and that heart. There was all this heart and soul behind what you were doing. So, but yeah, a lot going on there up in the gray matter. All right, so that was second attempt at 100, and it's still eluding you.
Right.
And we're going to take a minute and kind of regroup.
A minute.
Well.
A second, a hot second.
So, Tony, our friend from the West Coast, he's done Western States. He's done, some real crazy stuff. He goes, Jeff, my advice for you would be to take all year and do small stuff. Build towards it. Just get your legs back under you. He goes, pick Hennepin. Do the 50-miler Hennepin just to get a win. He said, and then do the 2021 Jackpot. Go back to Jackpot. Just be healthy, get strong, build. Brilliant idea, Tony. And then COVID. and then our world stopped for 2 years.
Yeah. And we lost focus and we switched focus and now all of a sudden, like maybe running a race wasn't at the forefront because we're not sure if we're going to live or die or have a job or, our family, kids. Right. So that happened to the world. Some crazy shit. And so that's on pause then.
And then I think that might be when Tim and I connected with Chad to do the Marine Corps virtual whatever it was.
Yeah.
So Tim's going to start running because last we heard he wasn't running. He was supporting Jeff. But what happened during COVID, Tim?
So COVID actually gave me a chance to get back in shape because I couldn't go to work. And I'm an aircraft mechanic. I got a civilian job back on the Air Force Base out here. And so I'm working on airplanes again, but they're like, you're on administrative leave because we don't want you getting COVID. So I'm like, okay, you can't fix airplanes remotely. So I got a lot of spare time on my hands. And it all stemmed back from when I went to Jackpot in 2018 because I saw how people really work. I saw, because I was supporting random people I'd never even known. You know what I mean? Like, help people set up tents or their shades or whatever. Because I had spare time just falling in the water. I got lots of time. So
he's taking a swim. I mean,
so and I was watching all this go on, and I'm like, man, this is how people should be with each other every day. So that seed got planted, and it kind of grew in my head. Well, now it's COVID. I got time on my hands. And there's things about my life where I'm doing a lot of improvement, just, on myself and relationships and everything else. So part of that was I don't want to be out of shape anymore. I don't want to be, 6'2", 300 pounds, 40 some odd years old, all the health risks associated with that. But I hate running, just like Jeff, in the military. And when I retired from the military, it was you have to run so fast, do all this junk, and I was having a hard time with that because I am an inconsistent trainer. So I just started walking. We found out these virtual, that's why all these medals are for, they're all my family's. They're just virtual races. You just do on your app, you go out, you walk, and ride your bike, whatever you want to do, but it just gets you moving.
Okay, so let's stop real quick, Tim, because everybody out there, they can't, so we're looking at a screen that has Tim there, and he's sitting in front of, like, this wall full of medals. Okay, how many medals do you think we're looking at right here?
Oh, my word, so
60 maybe?
Yeah, so those are all virtual events that Tim did through COVID.
No, this is my
family. So it's like a combination of all of them.
Oh, okay.
But I've easily done 20 or so myself.
Oh my gosh.
So my daughter has a few on the wall you can't see.
So that is all inspired though by Jackpot and the camaraderie and the event and the good energy and people helping people and and now here we are and you're doing things with your family.
Yeah, so it's great. We were doing all that, and we get out, and my wife found. Well, we even had inter-house competitions because I have a roommate, so we're all adults, and we're like, we're going to do the Top Gun race. It's got a cool airplane, and I love Top Gun, so we're going to see who can finish at the first. I lost.
But you still won.
Oh yeah, I still won. We all competed. I think it's like 26 miles. You get a cool military airplane. I'm a big airplane guy. I love it. How much power was the bid?
That was 70.
Oh, it's 70 miles. I'm sorry, I was way off. So it's great. You just do it on your own time, and I think our roommate ended up winning. She got all 70 of them done first. She's not real athletic, but it was a cool thing, and that's my favorite thing about all this ultramarathon stuff is it just gets you inspired. It gets you going, and
yeah,
it made me realize a lot of things about myself and other people, and military always has a challenge. Well, I'm just retired now. I don't have, so it's kind of like. I used to have living up here with these kind of challenges and accomplish them, and then when I retired, I was down here, and that was fine because I needed a break. But then I was like, I'm missing something. I need something. And then I went out and helped him. And I was like, this is crazy. Why would anyone do this? But then by the time I was done, I'm like, oh, now I see why people do this. I'm still not doing it yet.
Yeah.
But that seed was planted, and it was just growing in my head.
Yeah.
And COVID actually helped that with. I get this thrill now, I get to run some up, I get a cool little medal, and it's something I can say I did. And when you tell other people, they look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
So
yeah, some people get it, but most of the population, they just don't get it until they've experienced it, until.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I've been at finish lines like crying with complete strangers, like just so inspired. And I mean, that's the beauty of it.
So at Tunnel Hill, that was the first time I met Tony, and me and Leslie helped him. Well, I say helped him run across the finish line. He whooped my rear. He was, for a guy who just did 100 miles, you wouldn't think though that last 100 feet. And I was trying to keep up with him. And but yeah, same thing. I knew him 24 hours at that point, and maybe 2 days, maybe. But same thing. I was helping him, and all the emotions at the end of the line. I'm like, I love this. This is so cool. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got started in this.
Yep, we had to talk about that. That's pretty important because the little ripples out that, and this, I mean, we get to see Tim and how it rippled out from Jeff to Tim, but sometimes you don't get to see how you may have inspired somebody out there, whether you finish the race and have that finisher's buckle or not, you inspired people along the way, for sure.
It was so weird, Tim. I've never told you this, but when you got your watch and you're coming to me for shoe advice, I'm talking to my wife. I'm going, can you believe Tim's doing this? This is so cool. I would see your stuff online every day, going, wow, Tim's rocking today.
Oh my gosh.
We were so proud of him. Every time stuff uploaded, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him.
And you're actually, you're adding years to your life, too, quality, but also quantity.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't worry, there's times where Tim was saying, Tim, I can't believe you're doing that.
So 2020, everything got pushed back a year.
Yes. And so are you still thinking Hennepin?
Yeah.
So had you registered?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
I registered. So I had a concrete growth plan. I was going to do the rock and roll in Nashville in April, the marathon of 2020. Train all year, do Hennepin 50 mile in October, and then make an assumption I'm healthy and whatnot. Continue to push towards, it would be 2021 Jackpot. And then COVID. And everything was deferred.
Okay.
And deferred. And so they ended up not able to do the jackpot in 2021. They were beginning to raise the rules and whatnot, but they weren't open enough. So we decided, us three, to go to Vegas anyway. We had our hotel, we had our airfare. Let's just take a week and make this the best possible event. A bunch of runners that I had met in a community out there decided to do a fat ass run that day.
Okay. They called it.
On the course. On the course, bring your own stuff. The race directors came in from Arizona. They were in Colorado at the time. They made it a race without making it a race. They had a board where you checked off what mile that you were on. And it was just like a weight was taken off. To go out there, I'm going to try to cry.
Yeah. It was fun because it was like he said, it was just a couple of the runners.
It was less pressure. It
was Jeff was there, Rhett was there, Chad was in for it because he had signed up for it. And so we were and it was fun. It was just the runners were running and then they'd stop and they'd chat with the race director and his wife, or they're both race directors. So it was just more of a I can relax type of run. It's not oh my gosh, I have to get this done.
The clock, yeah.
Yes. And then the wind hit. And it was crazy.
Damn wind. I mean, you can always count on the wind, right?
Yeah, you could totally. But this was crazy. I mean, it was like sirens were going off.
Oh, my gosh.
And Rhett was like, oh, my gosh, is there a tornado? I'm like, buddy, there are no. I mean, we're in Las Vegas. There's no tornadoes. There's no hurricanes. We're okay. And so I sent him to the rental car we had because the wind was like blowing things away. I mean, like things were blowing, like we're
from your aid station that you had.
I mean, like we had everybody combined all their stuff into one little pavilion because the wind was so bad, and we're trying to figure out how to block this wind because it was coming from all directions. So I sent him to our rental car, and I'm glad I did because the minute I sent him to the rental car, the sand started coming.
Oh my gosh!
So it was like wind was blowing, sand was going. I mean, and like there's a runner on the course, and everybody's trying to like keep eyes on her because she's this tiny little woman. And so everybody's like, where is she? Because the wind was so bad. I mean, it was blowing some of us backwards. So we're like, she's this tiny woman. It's going to blow her into the water. So her husband's trying to lock eyes to where she was. We're all trying to, on top of all the sand coming and wind coming, I mean, things were flattened. I mean, it was unbelievable. And Ken and Stephanie were like, okay, we're done with this stuff. When she comes in, we're done because this is bad. I mean, like I said, sirens are going off. And
were people actually going for 100 miles at this fat ass, or just for fun?
It was a 50K was the max.
Okay, got you.
But it was stop whenever you want to stop.
Yeah.
It would have been a Category 2 hurricane.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That the wind was that intense.
Yeah.
But what was cool about the event, the non-event was I was able to go back out there and just kind of excise a lot of demons that I didn't know were there. Wasn't necessarily the intention of it. It It was like, we're going to be out there. Let's get a bunch of folks together and just run.
Yeah.
Were you by yourself when this was happening?
My friend Chad was there.
Okay.
And a couple of the other people I had met the year before that live in the area were out there. So we were just having
Were you all
fun.
running together as
Yeah,
a group, kind of? Okay.
I
Kind
mean,
of,
we
yeah.
would get stretched out, come back in, stretched out, come back in, but
Okay.
it was very cathartic. It was very. It was an event I needed to do. I just didn't know I needed to do it.
For information on training programs through RunWell Coaching, please visit runwellcoaching.info. And for all other information on events, visit our website at the store, runedwardsville.com. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.